Hey everybody. Oh, Madeline, I'm so glad you got the notification. Welcome. Glad to see you. Feel free to drop me a little hello in the comments. Like, let me know who's watching. It's always nice, kind of pumps me up. And I'm just going to get started in a second. We're going to have a little fun, play with I'm going to try to keep this short and fun. Don't want to like drag it out too much. Hey, Gotta Leave. So happy to see you. Um, and oh my gosh, I think I got confused on the email, but yesterday I think I shared your design that you had sent me on email, but I the email was leave, so it got me confused. But anyway, so if I didn't get that attributed right, so sorry. So crazy. Hey there, Shithin. Anyway, sorry if I'm like butchering any names, but yeah, so like as a lot of you guys know, I really love to get inspiration from couture. And it was funny because I actually had got an email from one of my friends. Okay, leave. Okay, good. That was so sorry about that. I'm like, I just didn't connect those two. And then I realized like, I'm like, oh, hello. It's her. Um, but yeah, so I got an email from Janice Batterby, and she was like, "Oh, hey, I don't know if you saw this red carpet." And so she sent me the link to this Academy Museum Gala red carpet and pictures. So I thought it would be really fun to just kind of like riff off of some of these looks and create some digital backgrounds that you could use for like say an Adobe Express template or Canva or whatever. Hey Sydney. So it's like I like to kind of take these looks as a challenge and think like how is the easiest that I could adapt these and make something that's like inspired by that. So I took some of these looks and then like made them into a digital background which I could make into an Adobe Express template or Canva, as you like, but since I work on Adobe, I was like, oh, I'll try to keep it all in the Adobe family or whatever, since it seems like they're trying to make Adobe Express, popular like Canva. But to be fair, I feel like they could work on the templates a little bit. So, yeah, so I was like, maybe I can, create some nicer templates that people would want to use or whatever. But the main thing is just challenging ourselves to like how easily can we create a digital background that's inspired by this? And then, of course, knowing me, doing that with the brushes, the layer styles, and all that, and like how easy can I make it? So I actually went through some of these and just was like, make some little motifs, make some little quick backgrounds. And then I didn't really worry too much about like the composition or making it perfect or anything. It was really more just like, how could I show you like the quickest way possible to create something that's like inspired by this? So I'm just going to kind of go over some of these and show you my little tips and tricks and not to like go over everything in super super detail, but so I've put the looks on the left hand side of the screen and then kind of my adaptation on the right. And then you could have like a quote graphic or something in the middle of it or turn this into like art or something abstract, whatever. But I just, yeah, basically that's a long-winded way to tell you like don't judge me that these are just whatever, because I was trying to go through these really quick to kind of work out what techniques I would use and to adapt these. So this was like that look there. And so I'll just go through some of them and show you like what I kind of started playing with. So this one was a little bit minimalist. Um, and so I thought like, how would I adapt that into like a digital background? So I played with some of my tool brushes, some modern Renaissance brushes for the pattern. And what else? Even like the little, that's tool couture. So I wasn't worried about like making it super, super literal, but it was like, how can I get the vibe as easy as possible using the tools that I already have? So I didn't worry that it's exactly the same. And let's see here. Let's flip through that. That's 73. And then this one I thought would be really fun because I love a little bit of a print here. And then, we've got like a bunch of tulle and all this stuff here. So for this one, I turned it into like a little background with, the flower motif around the edges. and then some white and a little bit of that tool, playing with the tool for the center. So, it's just kind of like a jumping off point, but I'm going to show you kind of, I'll go through real quick, like the tools that I used and all of that. Oh, hey, Linda, super happy to see you here. Good morning. And for me, it's good midday, but a little different times for everybody. So this look I thought was really fun. I thought this would be cool to like bust out the where is it? Bust out a little some of the Instagram styles again and creative couture. So I played with that and playing around with this like kind of a watercolory sort of motif. It's quite soft there. And let's hear that's 90. This one I love. One thing that I love is I love a pattern dress because I can instantly sample and really take advantage of those multicolor brushes, the color blending brushes. So at any time that there's a good pattern, I'm like, oh, I love it. I can like, totally swipe it and then, play around with some multicolor brushes. Although this like composition don't even. Hey, am I back? My internet just absolutely cut out. So I don't know if it's hello, hello. Oh, for the love. Oh my gosh. My internet just absolutely went out. And we're going to see. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I'm streaming. Come on. Okay. Hey, Jess. Okay. Oh my goodness. I cannot even. Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. So if you're catching up with me, oh my gosh, this is okay. Oh, I wonder if I can change my, I'm very blurry. Okay. I don't know if I can change my internet while I'm midstream. If anybody could tell me how my quality looks, that would be super. And if it doesn't look good, then I will restart. Okay, Jess, thank you so much. It says it's not blurry. Okay. So that was just wild. My internet signal just like turned off. Like there was no internet signal. So, oh my goodness, dear Lord, have mercy. Um you would think it's like Mercury in retrograde or something. Okay. Thanks guys for like not bailing or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go through these. So I haven't even got started yet. But I liked this one here. It was like a pink ombre thing. So I played around with that like sort of ombre thing. So yeah. Okay, if you're using OBS uncomfortably, I'd recommend you restart OBS, then restart. Okay, I did restart my OBS, and okay, but Bhavana, it's highly pixelated on YouTube. Okay, if I don't want to like restart my stream, um, because I'm just gonna have too many things going on. But if you go over to behance.net/creators couture, you can catch me live there. So yeah, so let's get into it. And if I start getting really crappy whatever, then just let me know. But I wanted to share with you guys a couple of the little tricks that I did to like create this sort of vibe, and I think that they will be useful for you in maybe on your own thing. So the first thing that I was going to do is go into this look here, which I love that sort of satiny effect, and so I thought I would play with that for the background. And then the first thing that I was going to do was to, I was like, okay, well, I'll use one of my wet paint mixer brushes, and maybe I will sample directly from the image, or maybe I would create my own little, color palette like I do for a lot of the wet stuff. But the thing is that I wanted the whole background to be very smooth and creamy as one. And like if I created like a single brush stroke, and then if I made a single brush stroke and then filled the background with brush strokes, it won't be like all creamy as one, all like nice together. So in this instance, what I did was using the paint pulling method. And so I dropped a bunch of color in the background and then essentially, use my paint pulling brushes to smear it. So let me just pull back my layers here. And so I can kind of show you how I did this. So let's just pull them back here. So first thing that I did was I created, I just sampled a color from on here and created a color fill layer. So that's the first thing that I wanted to do. And then, oops, let me just undo that here. So then I'm going to, the first thing that I did is I want this to be in the colors of this silk. So I used my, I wanted to make some multicolor palettes in the way that I would for my pattern stamp brushes. So I'm grabbing my rectangular marquee tool. And what I did was I just selected some areas of the green silk that I liked, made a little selection, and I went edit define pattern, or for me, I use a keyboard shortcut, Command M. So I created a few patterns like that, and you can see which ones I sampled here. So I just did a few from the silk. And so what I'm going to do is, because I want that particular color, is then I'm going to just randomly, and it really doesn't matter with which brush, fill that background layer with some color. So I'm going to take, one of my color palettes here, and it really kind of doesn't matter the brush. So in this case, I'll just go to like my Modern Impressionist brushes. I'll grab brush number 1. And of course, we're using that color stamp method. And if you're not familiar with it, just check down below on the links. But we're just going to fill this up. And in fact, so I just kind of went back and forth. And if you hold down the brush and use more pressure, you're going to have more darks to lights. So I just did like that. And the thing is it could be kind of monocolor here. So I actually did a little bit of kind of hack. So maybe I took a darker one, and I just did this like kind of just kept changing my color palettes and until I made sure that I got some dark spots as well. And even you could put like I could make maybe a new layer and turn that into multiply, and have some that are a little bit darker or what have you. But anyway, I just kept playing around with it, dropping those colors down from the look. And if it looks too dark, okay, let's grab a lighter, make sure you get like a lighter one. That one's too whatever, I like that light. So it kind of looks something like this. And then even I wanted to make sure that there was enough light. I didn't want it to be too dark, so I created a new layer and I turned that blend mode to screen, and let's just into like the thing to 50%. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough highlights. So I took, like one of my color palettes, like probably this one, and then just brushed across here a few times. And sometimes if you brush, you might get some dark strokes. Sometimes if you brush a certain way, you'll get light strokes, but whatever. So I was just dropping the colors down till it's like how I like. Turn the blend mode to screen. turn that opacity down. And now now I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get some pretty good highlights or whatever. So basically I came up with something like this. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but we're just throwing down those colors. And now basically what we're going to do is, like, after I got that layer, I'm going to duplicate it so I have a backup, because I always want to, you know, kind of work non-destructively. And then we're going to use that paint pulling technique from the paint pulling brushes. So I went over and I'm going to get my mixer brush now, and the mixer brush, and then I grabbed paint pulling brush 9. And so it's got some wet settings, so it's going to drag all of those pixels and stuff and create some nice creamy effects. And it doesn't have any color loaded into it, so it's going to have just the color from um, the layer. And so then I can just brush across it and create like a really nice silky background that's like, you know, the whole includes the whole layer. And so, you know, we get that whole kind of silky effect, and, you know, silky satiny, and you can play around with the size, or, you know, all of that. But that's how I did that, you know, and get that whole satiny background for the whole thing. So treating that as one. And then now all those colors will kind of go together and look like a bit softer, and, you know, so that's how I did the background, and that might be of use to you in the future. And then the next thing that I did was I just drew some little shapes like these little you know, this little kind of a silver embroidery and stuff. I was like, okay, how can I do this like the easiest possible? So if you know, follow me for a while, you probably recognize the layer styles. This is, so I just drew these like very simple shapes with any brush, you know, just a regular brush. And then I applied my, this is from the Creative Couture collection, and it is one of the jeweled, or the, let's add it to my panel. It's one of the jeweled styles or the pave styles. And I'm going to find out here for a second. This is jeweled 5. So we did that, but it kind of has a little dimension on that side. So what I thought to do was take one of my layer styles from my recent gold play collection that has a little bevel and emboss, and add that to that layer to just add a little bit of extra dimension and kind of, you know, give the vibe of that. And don't forget, if you're wanting to add those layer styles, you can't just shift and click it anymore. Oops, goodness. Let's here. Let's, because it will, like if I have this layer on and I just shift and click it, it won't add it. You have to hold down the shift key and then like actually drag that on there. And then it will add the bevel and emboss and the drop shadow onto your layer style without knocking out that layer style that you had already had, you know. So, because of course, if I just click on this, it will just replace the layer style. So we've got to actually hold down the shift key and drag. And then for the last part, I just added some brush strokes using my Feather Couture Fantasies, the Feathery Brush Collection, brush number 4. So anytime I saw a feather, I was like, okay, well, I've got a brush for that. So this case, we're going to go back to the pattern stamp tool. And of course, I made my own little color palette sampling directly from this image. So here is the images that I sampled. So of course, if you're not familiar with it, you go over to your rectangular marquee tool, and then you're going to like, I'll just go over a little area, hit edit define pattern, click OK, and just take some different areas, and, you know, that way you have a few different color palettes, and we don't have to pick out our own colors, and we can paint directly from the image. So that's good. And so then we're going to go here. Let's turn this. Let's go to the Feather Couture Fantasies. And I went to brush number 4. And then let's go over here. Where is, oh yeah, Silken Feathers. And, oops. So now we got to change our color palette so we can pick one of the blue ones that we just sampled from the images. And then just draw some strokes and you can layer it, change the color, you know, da da da. And that is an easy way to emulate that sort of feather look. So, you know, you could totally make a nicer composition than me, but that's the basically the three foundations. And I think it's cool because it's, you know, you can totally tell it's like inspired by this look. You know, we sampled our colors directly from the images. Oops. Um, okay, Linda, I keep getting fuzzy and then clear again. Okay. Anybody else on YouTube or anybody um, that uh, has any issues? I'm curious. Let me know because I might, if it's enough to be distracting, I can just restart. So I will love to know. I'm gonna wait for just a second. And I'm really curious to see. Okay, Linda, you're on Behance. Okay, good. No issues for me. Okay. Linda, thank you for letting me know. And I'm going to try to do at least like one more. And then maybe I'll try to change my network back and just see what happens. And then if I get bumped off, then I will. Okay, Jess, we haven't had any issues with sound on video or YouTube. Okay, I'm going to keep going just because I don't want to have like spam my Behance page with a billion lives. But yeah, if it gets really bad, please speak up. And now I'm curious, okay, because I don't want to take too much time today. Maybe I'll do like some of these the other day. Does anybody, I'm going to have like a vote if anybody wants uh, to see me do one of the particular one of these looks first, then let me know because I will do that one first because I won't have enough time to do all of them today, like on this live. Um, so we've got this pink look here. I'm curious. So we've got this black lace one. Okay. We've got that's 73. We've got this floral pastel look. We've got this look here. With that, we have, let's see here, what do we got? 290, 299. We've got this red and black look. And then we've got, and then the pink one. So if you have a suggestion or if you have a recommendation or one of those you would like me to see do first, feel free to sound off in the comments. Otherwise, I am going to just go through really fast and let you and tell you guys which brushes that I use without demonstrating all of them, just so you can. I want to try to get kind of like in all of these kind of in a bit quick. So I'll go through and talk about the brushes that I used for these ones. And then I will have these, okay, Linda, you like the black lace. Anyway, I'm starting with that one, so good. Yay. I'll peel back the layers and then we'll see how I like constructed it. So to begin with, this was a simple one color tulle and lace brush number 2. And on some of, I will tell you guys, on some of these like lace brushes that have that lace pattern inside of them, I actually did change, adjust the brush for my project. So say if the texture of the lace inside the brush was too small, if you go into window and then brush settings, you can go into the texture panel, which has got the lace, and you can change the scale of it right here. So that's really good to know in case it's not like it doesn't suit your needs. I don't think I changed it here. This looks like pretty the same, what do you call it, size. One thing that I did do, so I just filled that background like this with that nice lace, and that was really quite nice. And then I created a new layer group and I faded off the sides because I wanted it to be a little bit nicer. But you know what I did? I didn't do that till later, so let me disable that. So I did that. And then this is one of the modern Renaissance brushes. So when I saw her little black lace thing, I was like, ooh, there's some motifs like this in my Modern Renaissance collection. Okay, so this is where I changed that um, pattern within the brush. And I really wasn't worried about it being perfect. It's just to get that idea. So I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to go to my, let's see if I can find it, my Modern Renaissance. Um, did I save them under Renaissance or Modern Renaissance? Renaissance, okay. So I grabbed one of these brushes, and I think I did, I need to get like a better, I think I have a brush chart of these. Oh, that's kind of nice, because it's hard to like figure out which one that I wanted. But say it's something like this. So there's like a little bit of a motif that could work for the background. And so, but the pattern is a bit small. I want the pattern, I want to put a little like pattern across the top that is bigger. So all we have to do is go into our brush settings. If you don't see that panel, go to Window Brush Settings. And then we can take the, go into the texture and pull that scale up, and then redraw, and you can see that the scale is like how you like it. And this is probably not the brush that I want to use, but I could take that scale up, and then it creates something like that. So that's essentially what I did there. I don't exactly remember which brush that I used here, but I created it. It's one that had the little motif in it, so I was like, cool, I like it. And then I was like, oh, well, it's got this little edging here. So I was like, how can I adapt that for my template? So um, I put these little layers over here. And actually, what I did, and I remember like how I kind of worked this. I was like, oh, I want to have some of this like layer on the side, because I wanted something that kind of referred to this, like the black collar and the black, that harder black edge. So what I did was, let's see here, let's go here. And I'll kind of show you like all of my reasoning for it, because as you work, sometimes you go, oh, well, I put these black, things on the edge, but actually I'm not loving them, and because I can't see anything behind here. And so then I realized, oh, let me put another stroke here so we can see that thing. And then finally, I put this layer mask, and let me enable this layer mask, because I needed to see some of that layering and everything. So as I go, I'm like adapting and changing. So the first thing though that I did was, I put those two layers, and I didn't have this layer mask. I'm going to dislabel that layer mask. And so I started off by adding two of these brush strokes of Modern Impressionist. And I don't think that they were in just one color. I actually sampled a little bit from this image, because sometimes even if you have just a small color jitter, it just adds a little nice extra dimension to your brush stroke. So I just did something like this, like selecting mainly the black lace, but with a little bit of that light lace in between. And I went Edit Define Pattern to define that. And then I get my pattern stamp tool, and I select that, whichever I just made. Maybe I'll do this one. And I'm going to go over here to my actual black and lace. And so I wanted to draw some strokes on the side in that, with like a Renaissance, one of the Renaissance brushes. So what I did, I didn't even worry that it was perfect. I actually just took my selection tool and created a border on the side, and then I hold down my shift key, and I did the other side because I wanted like a sharp line. And then I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to go to my pattern stamp tool, and then went to my Renaissance brushes, and I did something like, let's see here. I think I'm going to go back to this palette that I originally made, because it's mainly black, and I think I prefer that. So just, it could be any brush stroke, but here, this is pretty good. So it's something like this. So we had that on the side and just brush that to create like a stronger, I wanted to create something like this. I wanted a stronger sort of brush stroke, but I'm going to put the one that I originally had on because I don't have my brush chart here and I don't want to spend a ton of like time on it. And then I was like, oh, well, I want one more brush stroke. So I actually took the Tool Couture brush. And in this case, I think I will just do a one color brush in black. And this is from my, if we can find yeah, Tool Couture brush. And I want to say it is, it is something like 9 or 9B. Oh, yeah, no, I would say maybe it's 9B. Oh, no, maybe 9. So this is a nice brush. I liked the scalloped edges. And I wonder if I have I have a scrap thing here. So it's a brush like this. So I just thought it would be a nice homage to this over here. So black lace flower. And so I just put a, oh, where did everything go? Hello. I hide everything. That's annoying. Oh. Okay. History. Okay, for some reason, I just hit everything. So I put that brush stroke as an accent here. Just, it looks like I put it over it, yeah. So I just drew that brush stroke on the edge there. If I want to like redraw it myself. Something like this. So, but then I go, okay, well, it's too dark on the side and I can't like see the, details in this brush. So I went and did I do a multicolor? No. So I just added a brush stroke underneath there. So let's just do that. Let's make a new layer. I'm going to grab my one color. I'm going to select this mauve. And then I went to like something like Tool Couture 7. Yeah. And just drew that brush stroke behind it. Oops, let's undo that. Holding down my shift key will make it straight. And now I could see those details of that background. And I think that that's really nice. And I could even, draw it a little bit more over here. So we see that. And even in my original one, I thought, let's see here, enable the layer mask. It went all the way over to the edge. And so I just kind of put those original two layers into a layer group and then put a little bit of a gradient so it tapered off on the side, but I like it anyway. You kind of get the idea. And yeah, so that's how I did that black lace kind of number. And I just, I'm always trying to connect, like if I like a motif here, I'm like, what brushes do I already have to do that can make everything like really easier. And let's just I'm gonna flip it through a couple other things here and show you some of the tips, and then but I won't do like everything because I don't want it to be like super long. And if I will love to know how my oh goodness, don't cancel, how my stream is. So if it's funky, please let me know. So for this one, the main thing that I wanted to do was when I have something like this, I love to just sample the colors directly from the look. So I was like, okay, floral, we've got multicolor, easy peasy. I'm going to sample from this look and use one of my Romantic English Garden floral brushes, probably one of those, and maybe just a mix of those brushes. So of course, when I have something like this, my brushes, when you sample directly from images, the brushes do tend to soften the colors because I do that on purpose because I don't want it to be very dramatic and it looks less realistic and all this. So sometimes it will, if here you have a clear definition between like the blue, the pink, the green, but if I make a color palette, a multicolor palette directly from that image without maybe a little bit of adjustment. If I go edit define pattern, I click tester, and then I go over here, grab one of my romantic English garden brushes. Let's just see if we can find one. English garden. So if I grab that, like I'll use brush number 1 and I'll just do it on top over here. Well, let me actually select that color palette that I just did. I think it's here. Yeah, tester. And sometimes you can see that the colors are a bit softer, and that's a bit on purpose. Oh, thank you so much, Linda, for letting me know. Still getting fuzzy for a few seconds and then clearing up again. Okay, we will see how it goes. Hopefully, I'm very interested to know how it will be on the replay. If it'll be like more clear on the replay, because sometimes sometimes I'm gonna have some internet issues, so it's good to know if I like want to keep going, or whether to stop and restart my feed and everything. But thank you so much for the feedback and everything. Oh my goodness, David, back from Mexico. Yeah, you were like on a workshop or something, weren't you? It was crazy. I think you were doing something artistic. You have to let me know. I'm curious. So one of the things though that I wanted to tell you guys about doing these, color palettes directly from the image is sometimes if you want to make sure that you kind of really still get that vibrancy, you might actually go to your image and go to edit, what is it, adjustments, and then go to like hue saturation and just up the saturation a little bit before you sample directly from that image. And that can just help your brush strokes, when they're adapted into those brushes, be quite as vibrant as the original. So I'm just going to click OK. And then you can go into your look and then just sample to make your color palette. If you're not familiar with this method, again, you're jumping in. I've got all the foundation links below, so I can go to edit define pattern. And so all I did for the background of this was to play around with my different like English garden brushes. So I just picked one. Of course, I picked like one of the color palettes that I had made. I sampled different sizes, different areas, and you can take one of the ones that's a little more softer. You can take one that's more dramatic, and then just keep playing and layering, and till you get what you like. But pretty much, I think exclusively here, I use the romantic English garden color brushes, and so just to create this soft floral that mimics this over here. And then we have so much white here, so to like adapt it for the thing for this template, I was like, okay, how can I just get that vibe? And so I liked what happened here, and I'll show you kind of how I did it. But another thing that I did do is I put a curves, like after I brush all my brush strokes out, they weren't as colorful as what I wanted it to be. I just added a new adjustment layer. So I added a curves layer, and you can go to like layer, new adjustment layer, and hit curves. Or over here, if you have one of your panels, you can just click on the panels. So I added a curves layer and just played with my curves. I think I put auto or something. And then now it's a little bit more like the original or whatever. And then for this white center, I actually, let me just, okay, undo these. Okay, so this was really pretty simple. Is what I did was I drew out a square. Let's disable this layer mask. And I, have this white square. But I was like, this feels harsh compared to this, look. So what I did was I used one of my tool and lace brushes, and let me see here, enable layer mask. Let's see, let's cut it. So I took like my original tool and lace collection, like one color, And I don't know which one I took. No, I took, okay, like something like brush one, and I used a light pressure, but in black. And this just, uh, on the layer mask, not the, not the square. But now we just get just a slight feeling, and it masks it out, and you get that feeling of like lace rather than it being just a harsh white square, like it is there. So that's what I did. And then I wanted a soft transition, so I took, just in one color, I think, uh, one of the brushes, the other. This is the Tool and Lace brushes, and then up here is the Tool Couture. And I grabbed one of those ones again with a scalloped edge. I think it was 9B, yeah. And just, let's make a new layer. And I just drew, let's grab a white here, like this, to kind of create that soft, transition, and kind of so you could feel that. So that's what I did there. Maybe I used a little softer color or a smaller brush, but it just to kind of like make that transition and feel cool. So that's the brush. Maybe I added a couple other brush strokes actually, on there. Yeah, it looks like I used, even like Tool Couture 2B, or I put just a soft haze. I kind of added those brush strokes, so just kind of felt like a little nicer to kind of, create that transition between those. Oh, cool. Oh my gosh, David, that's amazing. Photography. I need to learn a little bit of photography, to be honest. I think it would be nice. I mean, I took photography classes back in uni, but now I couldn't tell you like anything. I mean, if it wasn't automatic, like the f-stops and all of that, it's crazy. And let me just see here. So I'm just going to tell you guys which stuff that I used, real quick for these, to kind of mimic this motif. So, and I won't take too long though. I saved some of these, which is great. Go me. So, make a new layer. Okay, so for this one, I actually used, for these kind of watercolory strokes, I used Modern Impressionist brush number 7, and I sampled colors. I squeezed in here real tight and sampled colors from this dress, these things. And I just went over here and got the light colors, and then I went over here and got the dark colors, and went to edit define pattern to create my multicolor blends, because they're not just one color. So the multicolor brushes are really great for getting that like nice sort of look. So what I did was then I used Modern Impressionist brush number 7 for both of the strokes, and I just painted some light ones, and then right next to it I painted some dark ones, just like you see here. And so that created that nice effect. And also, don't forget with the Modern Impressionist brushes that if you hold it down and use harsh pressure, you're going to see really strong transitions between those brush marks. But if you hold it down, if you use very light pressure with pressure sensitive, then it's going to be very more smooth, creation, smooth thing. And let's see here. And then I thought I would just accent it, because you see we have these little like nice little accents here. So I took, my gemstone and textile brush number 8, and I think I just adjusted it a little bit, like adjusted the spacing. And I'm doing that a lot with my brushes, but it just wanted to create a little brush stroke like you see here. And I did it in a one color. And then I used the Textile 1 layer style from the Creative Couture collection, and that's just a great way to add a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of glam to your designs. And yeah, I gotta like link all those below. And then the last thing is I wanted that subtle bit of that black sequins in there. So this was really fun. So what did I use? I used from my OG Instaglam and Creative Couture collection. I used light gold flakes leopard and brush. And then let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's right there. And I use the same layer style. It's that textile one, which was it's a great one to add shimmer. And so I just did it in black. And here you can see here me drawing a brush stroke in black. And then that way, of course, that it'll take the color from whatever color you're drawing. So if I was to take it like a teal, it would have the effect in teal, but we're going to undo that. And so that is the one that's what I use to create this sort of effect. And I think it's fun. So I keep looking at these as like challenges, like how can I, you know, between all of my collections, all of my layer styles, all of my brushes, I pretty much don't have to like do almost anything like from scratch anymore. You know, I've got a really good range of different different brushes. And then for this one, of course, when I see a pattern like this, I love it because with any of my multicolor brushes, I can just sample right from this image. So I'm going to create a square. I'm going to go to Edit, Define Pattern, and click OK. And now I can just have fun with this. I can take one of my color blending brushes, grab one of the patterns that I just made from, defined a pattern from that image, and we're painting from images. And so now if I go over here, I can just play with my different brush collections. Like I'll pop into this couture fiber, and so now we've got those colors coming out straight from the look, and so really I have the most fun, I swear, when I can find a print, something like this, and just play with that, those color things. So what I did was on this one, I just, created some shapes and then used them as clipping masks, and I just played with all different kinds of brushes. There we've got a little tool couture. I was just playing with that. Um, having some fun with all those colors coming out of the brushes. So just like you could layer, you can do whatever. So that's what I did. So I just played with all different ones. I used some modern impressionist, but we love we love some color blending, whatever. And what's great is like my composition here is whack, okay? So don't judge me. But you can make something really elegant, like take those colors straight from her look, maybe make it just on the sides of your template or on, whatever, and make it like really cool. So that's how I did that. And then I did make myself a little color palette here because I wanted to create some brush strokes that were inspired by this, like by her leathery latexy gloves. And then also I thought this looked like kind of velvety here, like velour. So for the velour brush, I actually grabbed my, let's just pop over here. On one of my recent live streams, I created, I showed you guys how to make oh gosh, I've got like 3 different things here. Right here, creating the velvety furry dimensional brushes. So I actually used one of those brushes. So that's what I'm going to use. And then also like a wet paint brush. And so the thing is this would be a little bit hard to sample directly from the image. So what I did was I just made my own color palette and made myself a little like, wet paint mixer brush palette to sample from. So I went into like here. Let's see where actually I sampled from. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I want to get those, the black and a little bit of that, light there. So I made a little square. I hit Edit, Define Pattern, click OK. And then I'm going to go get one of my palette maker brushes, which is simply a just putting dots. And, dots, it's just a dot maker brush. And so we're going to actually use my pattern stamp tool technique. We are going to grab that, that we just sampled from the arm here. Grab my palette maker And let me just go somewhere where I can just show you. And so we're just going to create a palette like this and just draw a little nice color palette. And it's going to have some of that white in there from those gloves and all that. So that's what I did. So let's go to my red and black. Okay. I'll just put my palette over here. And I'm curious to see if I saved which, oh yeah, no, I did. Okay. So this one, I grabbed a wet paint mixer brush. Oh, hey, Marilia, super happy to see you. You have to, hopefully, I wonder, oh, it's quite late over there in India. Anyway, but we're glad to see you. I want to say that this mixer brush, gosh, I saved it, and I don't know if it's, I don't think it's from my original wet paint collection. I think it's from my 24 karat gold collection because it's got this circular tip here. I swear. Couture. Let me. I'm getting too many brushes, y'all. Anyway, it's a wet paint brush, and I'm pretty sure that it is from the one of the wet brushes from like my 24 karat gold brush collection. But all I did was I option clicked over this palette, and then it created these gorgeous strokes. I just think it got with great highlights in them, you know. So, but the thing is sometimes like I could maybe sample directly from this image. Let's just no, it's too big. The stroke doesn't look right. That's why it's nice sometimes to make that good palette so you can get the colors all next to each other, and then that's where you get those dramatic highlights and all of that. And I had saved some of these actually, so I will include this in the download. Whichever brushes I saved in my tool presets panel, I will put those in the package for you guys. And then I also used one of my metallic velour brushes. Here you can see it in action that I created in my other live stream. And I sampled from the same color palette as you can see here, and it created more of a velour effect, and I thought that was fun to play with. So I love playing with all the textures and all of that. So I'm going to leave that one there. And I think I had the last one, which was the ombre. I shouldn't say ombre sounds like is like Spanish for man, so ombre. I think that's like the right word to say it. Pink ombre. And for this one, what did I do? Oh yeah, so I did like a lot of things, but let me group this, hide this. Okay, so the main thing is that I wanted the ombre of the effect to be across the whole document. And so this is like one thing that might help you is rather than just like necessarily selecting, creating my color palette like this from it, then it's not, as I paint, it's going to be like more messy. So what I did was I just took a selection from the whole thing like this to get that whole ombre, and I copied it and then I pasted it over here, and I filled my screen with it. So I'm going to hold down my shift key and just stretch it out. It doesn't matter. We're only just getting the colors from it. So I'm going to click OK. And let's see here. Yeah, so I did like that. And now I can go to, oh, and I have like a little cropped situation going off here, but I go to like edit, define pattern, and click OK. And now whenever I take one of my color blending brushes, like use my pattern stamp technique, and I pick like the color palette that we just made, it's gonna kind of keep all the pink and the ombre effect in relation to each other. So if I say, let me just grab one of my Tool Couture brushes, I'm gonna make a new layer, and okay, I want to make sure Impressionist is checked and aligned. And so now when I do this tool brushes, you see how that it respects that the ombre effect, And it can move a little bit, but it's in general, it keeps that ombre effect on your whole document. So you can kind of play with that. And so that's what I did there. So let me, yeah. So I did that. Let's just peel back the layers and see what I did. So I just kind of, I picked a brush and, brushed up and down. So we get that brush stroke feeling, but it's keeping the ombre on the whole document. And hopefully that's not too confusing. And then what, okay, no, I didn't do that. And then it looks like actually I just took some, yeah, I just took some of like one color brush actually, my brush tool, and I grabbed some, I created some kind of stripes here. And yeah, what did I do? I took the brush from, because I made these a few days ago, so excuse me here. Like Tool and Lace brush. I don't know if it was two, no, maybe it was 13. Yeah. So this is just like a little lace brush. I don't know if it's more like, no, maybe 9. No, okay. I just took one of my, there's no right or wrong way, but basically what I did was I took one of my Tool and Lace brushes and I grabbed some like dark color from the pink and I just added some stripes like in one color because I thought I would kind of play on the idea of the folds. So I like put some dark pink stripes and then I alternated them with some light pink stripes. So I'm gonna, with that one color brush, I'm gonna option click, pick a light pink, and then I just like went down. And so just played with that sort of, effect. And so it was fun, just adding a little bit of, whatever. So that's what I did here, except it's a little bit softer. And I took the opacity down. Okay, that's why. You can see my brush strokes there. I took the opacity down and then I added a layer mask and faded it off of the top. So it's cool. So just kind of like going through real quick so I can show you okay, where am I in here? What is this? Cancel. Oh, okay. I accidentally entered like something. And then I just played around with putting I used my Tool Couture brushes and just created some brush strokes around the edges. That was quite cool. I liked that. And I just put a couple of them. And for this one, I think I used my multicolor technique. So I grabbed my pattern stamp tool and I had selected like some smaller areas of, created some color palettes from, up here. And so I'm going to click OK. And then we go into the Tool Couture. And I just grabbed like, I don't know which brush I used, but just some brushes like this around the sides, to do that. And so it's got a little bit of like jitter, when you're using that like the multicolor technique. So it's just a way to like, have some fun with it. So that's kind of just what I did. I don't know if it's like the best, digital background there. Let me go back to my history and show you from the beginning. But yeah, that's kind of what I made. So just something to get the vibe of the dress. So I actually worked through all those, so that was okay. And yeah, so I'm going to dump these PSD files and whatever tools that I saved from these into my resources folder for the subscribers. So you can download and just check those out yourself. But hopefully you grab like a little something about, even if you don't make something, totally different, you might have grabbed something that you can use in the future. Like, oh yeah, like especially for example, like, creating like a satiny effect across the whole thing rather than just using like one mixer brush and, because then it's going to be like super streaky. If you want the whole thing, it's kind of easier to like just drop some color and spread it, to create that whole satiny effect. Of course, you could use like even Gaussian blur, but I like seeing those. To me, this feels very silky and very cool. And oh, thank you so much, Marilius. I'm glad that oh, it's not so late there. Oh, in India, I thought it was a bit later. Glad you like the black brush strokes. And thank you so much, Linda, for like keeping me up to date on the what do you call it, on the connectivity. And Hopefully, I will not have so much the internet problems like that, but I'm glad that I got to share this with you. I did that a few days ago, so sorry if I was a little bit like whatever, because I was trying to remember like what brushes that I used and all of that. But I will be online 1:30 tomorrow with something cool, and I'm gonna keep it short tomorrow. This one was a 1 hour. This was a bit long, so sorry about that. I wanted to keep it short. And also yesterday, if you didn't see it already, definitely check out how I created some festive patterns. This one here using the capture tool in Photoshop, because that was really fun, and I think that was we can do some really cool things with it. So glad to see you, David and Elena, and Gotta Leave, and Linda, and Elena, and so glad to, and Maurilius, glad to see everybody here. And now I'm just gonna get busy on new stuff. And don't forget to message me if you have any suggestions or whatever. I always love to hear it. So thanks so much for dropping in your comments, and have an awesome day. Thank you so much, Linda. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.